At the family dinner, where pride filled every corner and laughter echoed around the table, Ethan kicked his pregnant wife to the ground, calling her a gold digger who brought shame to his family, unaware the trembling woman he just humiliated owned the very company his parents had dedicated their lives to. He thought she was beneath him, but the truth about who she really was would soon turn his world upside down. How could the woman he scorned hold the power to destroy everything his family built? And when he finally discovers she owns it all, what will he do when the tables turn? The silverware clattered across the tiled floor as Olivia gasped for breath, her trembling hand pressing against her stomach. The room fell silent except for the echo of Ethan's furious words still hanging in the air. His mother, Margaret, folded her arms smugly, her lips curving into a cruel smile. His father looked away, pretending not to see. Ethan stood over Olivia, chest heaving, a man drunk on pride and poisoned by whispers. "She's nothing but a burden," Margaret said sharply, her tone like cold steel. "I warned you from the beginning, Ethan. A woman with no background, no family name, no class, what else could she be after but your money?" Olivia's eyes welled with tears, not from pain, but from the unbearable sting of betrayal. Just a year ago, Ethan had sworn eternal love to her under the same oak tree where he first confessed his feelings. She had believed him when he said he didn't care about her past, that love was enough. Now, standing there with dust on her palms and his boot print on her dress, she wondered what kind of love humiliates a woman carrying your child. "Get out!" Ethan barked, voice thick with disgust. "Before I throw you out myself." Olivia tried to stand, clutching the edge of the dining chair for balance. No one moved to help her. Not even Ethan's sister, who once called her the best thing that happened to this family. She looked at their faces, cold, judgmental, triumphant, and something inside her began to shift. It wasn't anger, not yet. It was awareness, the kind that cuts deeper than pain. Without a word, she straightened her spine, her trembling hand moving protectively to her stomach. "You'll regret this, Ethan," she whispered. "Maybe not today, but someday, you will." Ethan scoffed. "The only thing I'll regret is not kicking you out sooner." Her taxi ride that night was quiet, filled only with the hum of the city and the steady rhythm of her heartbeat. As she stared out the window, flashes of the past flickered before her eyes. Ethan kneeling with a ring, promising to build a life together. The late nights when she stayed up helping him prepare reports for his father's company. The laughter they shared in their tiny apartment before he moved her into his parents' mansion, and everything changed. Back then, Olivia thought love would protect her from cruelty. She thought her sincerity would win them over. But the Kings were not the kind of family who saw hearts. They saw status. What Ethan never knew, what none of them ever cared to ask, was that Olivia was no ordinary woman from nowhere. She was the only child of Henry Callahan, the founder of Callahan Enterprises, a tech conglomerate that secretly owned several smaller firms, including King & Sons Logistics, the company Ethan's parents had built their careers in. When her father died suddenly, she inherited everything, but she never told Ethan. She wanted to be loved for who she was, not what she owned. And now, she realized, that decision had cost her everything. Weeks passed. The divorce papers arrived like a knife through her chest. Ethan didn't even show up to sign them in person. He sent his lawyer, who handed her a file and an insult wrapped in a smirk. "Mr. King is moving on," the lawyer said, "and he wishes you well." Moving on to her, the woman. Olivia had seen whispering into Ethan's ear months before their marriage fell apart. Her name was Amanda Blake, a marketing executive from his office. Amanda, beautiful, bold, and everything Olivia wasn't in their eyes. Olivia signed the papers quietly, then looked at the lawyer. "Tell Ethan I hope she treats him better than he treated me." She didn't cry after that. Not when she moved into a small apartment on the outskirts of the city. Not when she gave birth alone to twin baby girls, Emma and Grace. When she held them for the first time, she saw her reason to live, her reason to fight. As the months passed, she watched from afar as Ethan flaunted his new marriage online, posting smiling photos with Amanda in luxury vacations funded by bonuses from her company. Every caption, every grin, felt like salt on an open wound. But Olivia didn't speak. She watched. She planned. Because while Ethan celebrated, unaware of the empire quietly under her control, Olivia was slowly repositioning every piece on the board. Soon, Ethan would learn that the woman he humiliated at his family dinner wasn't the powerless wife he thought she was. She was the storm he'd unleashed. 6 months later, Ethan King stood on the balcony of his new penthouse suite, overlooking the glittering skyline of Chicago. Amanda's laughter echoed from inside, soft and sultry, the kind that used to make him feel powerful. But lately, even her laughter couldn't quiet the unease gnawing at his gut. He had everything he thought he wanted: freedom, luxury, a stunning wife, and his father's approval. Yet, as the city lights flickered below, he couldn't shake the feeling that something invisible was shifting beneath his feet. Inside, Amanda leaned over the marble counter, sipping wine as she scrolled through her phone. "Ethan," she said sweetly, "did you see the news? Callahan Enterprises just appointed a new CEO. Some woman named Olivia Callahan. The media says she's rebranding everything, especially King & Sons Logistics." The glass slipped from Ethan's hand and shattered on the floor. The name hit him like a bullet. Olivia Callahan. He froze, his heartbeat pounding in his ears. It couldn't be her. It couldn't. His Olivia's last name was Green. At least, that's what she told him. "Ethan?" Amanda tilted her head, sensing his sudden stiffness. "You okay?" He forced a laugh, masking the tremor in his voice. "Yeah, just surprised. Callahan's the company that owns our logistics firm, right?" Amanda nodded. "Yeah. Everyone's talking about her. Apparently she's young, brilliant, and get this, mysteriously private. No one even knew the old owner had a daughter until now." Ethan's throat tightened. A daughter. Hidden. Private. The puzzle pieces started sliding into place, her reluctance to talk about her past, her simple way of living despite the occasional flashes of knowledge about business, her calm silence when he ranted about work. No, it couldn't be. Meanwhile, across town, Olivia sat in her corner office, her twin's photo framed neatly on her desk. She looked out at the same skyline, calm and collected, the image of grace, but underneath, her heart beat with fire. Becoming CEO wasn't a revenge stunt, it was her birthright. But how she used that power? That was where the reckoning would begin. Her assistant, Mia, walked in with a tablet. "Ma'am, the Kings just received the new terms for their contract renewal. Their CFO called this morning. They sound panicked." Olivia didn't look away from the window. "Good. Panic makes people reveal who they really are." Mia hesitated. "Should I proceed with the restructuring plan? It's aggressive. They'll lose the majority of their stock rights." "That's the point," Olivia said softly. "They built their pride on my father's name without ever knowing who made it possible. It's time they understand the cost of arrogance." Her fingers brushed over the pen in her hand, the same pen Ethan used to sign their divorce papers. That night, Ethan's father, Richard King, slammed the contract papers on his desk. "This is insane," he barked. "They're stripping us of controlling interest. Who the hell does this Olivia Callahan think she is?" Margaret, pale with fury, glared at the documents. "A nobody who doesn't know her place. We made that company what it is." Ethan sat silently, staring at the name at the bottom of the letter. Olivia M. Callahan, signature elegant and deliberate. His chest tightened as memories flickered like lightning. Olivia sitting on their old couch, her hand on her belly, smiling when he told her he got promoted. Her quiet warning at that dinner, "You'll regret this, Ethan. Maybe not today, but someday." He swallowed hard, the echo of her voice crawling through him like a ghost. Amanda placed a hand on his shoulder. "Babe, we'll figure it out. You've got connections." But Ethan barely heard her. For the first time, the confident man who once kicked his wife to the ground felt powerless. He left the meeting early, ignoring the calls from his father's lawyer. The city outside blurred as he drove through the rain, his mind replaying every cruel word, every moment he dismissed her tears. Was she really the same woman? And if she was, what was she planning? The next morning, Olivia arrived at the headquarters of King & Sons for a scheduled inspection. The employees lined up nervously, unsure why the new CEO of their parent company was visiting in person. Ethan stood near the entrance, pale, trying to look composed. He hadn't slept all night. When the elevator doors opened and Olivia stepped out poised in a tailored cream suit, her hair pinned neatly, eyes calm but unreadable, the world seemed to stop. For a split second, neither spoke. The tension between them was electric, visible even to the interns whispering in the corner. "Mr. King," Olivia said finally, her tone polite but cold. "It's been a long time." Ethan's lips parted but no words came. She offered a small smile, one that didn't reach her eyes. "Let's discuss your company's future. Or what's left of it." As they walked past him into the boardroom, Ethan's knees almost buckled. His parents' voices echoed in his head. The insults, the mockery, the way they had looked at her, as though she were nothing. And now, she owned them all. Olivia turned once, meeting his gaze over her shoulder. "By the way, congratulations on your new marriage," she said lightly. "I hope she treats you better than you treated me." Her heels clicked away, leaving Ethan standing in the silence of his own destruction. He didn't know it yet, but this was only the beginning of her revenge. Ethan's world began to unravel slowly, like a thread pulled from a perfectly woven suit. It started with whispers at the office, layoffs, canceled contracts, and suddenly frozen accounts. The company his father built was hemorrhaging from all sides. "Callahan Enterprises pulled 3 of our biggest deals," the CFO shouted during an emergency board meeting. "They cited non-compliance, but that's nonsense. We've been compliant for years." Ethan sat there in silence, staring blankly at the spreadsheets flashing red on the projector. He already knew it wasn't nonsense. It was precision. Olivia's precision. Every move she made was deliberate, calculated not to destroy him outright, but to make him watch everything he valued rot slowly before his eyes. His father, Richard, slammed his hand on the table. "We need to speak to their CEO directly. I don't care what it takes." Ethan opened his mouth, his voice barely a whisper. "I don't think that'll help." Richard's eyes narrowed. "And why the hell not?" Ethan hesitated, his throat dry. He had told no one the truth, not about the dinner, not about the kick, not about the divorce. To them, Olivia was just his ungrateful ex-wife. They didn't know she had become the woman now pulling their strings. Richard leaned forward. "Do you know her or not, Ethan?" He swallowed hard. "Yes," he said quietly. "I know her." Margaret's face twisted in disgust. "You mean that woman you married? That embarrassment you dragged into our home?" Ethan's jaw clenched. "That woman," he said, "owns you now." The room went silent. Margaret's lip trembled. "What are you talking about?" "Olivia Callahan," Ethan said, forcing the words out. "She's the daughter of Henry Callahan, the same man who owned this company's parent firm, and now, she's the CEO." For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Richard laughed an ugly, bitter sound. "So that's what this is. Revenge." "Looks that way," Ethan said. Margaret's hand flew to her chest, her face pale. "We treated her horribly. My God." But Ethan couldn't bear the hypocrisy in her voice. "We? You mean you?" His father turned to him sharply. "Don't you dare put this on us. You humiliated her in front of everyone. You made her leave." Ethan stood abruptly, his chair scraping the floor. "You told me to." The room erupted in shouts, decades of pride collapsing into chaos. And outside that glass wall, the employees watched through the reflection, the once mighty kings, now devouring each other like desperate wolves. Meanwhile, Olivia sat in her private suite, reviewing the morning reports. Every strategic cut she'd ordered had gone exactly as planned. Mia entered with a hesitant smile. "Ma'am, King and Sons shares dropped another 12% overnight. They're calling for an emergency investor meeting." Olivia nodded, her expression unreadable. "Make sure they get an invitation to the upcoming shareholders summit. Front row seats." Mia tilted her head. "You really want them there?" "Oh yes," Olivia said softly. "They should see what real power looks like." After Mia left, Olivia leaned back in her chair, gazing at the twin baby photos on her desk, Emma and Grace, now 6 months old. Every sleepless night, every tear, every humiliation she had endured was now fuel. She wasn't just avenging herself, she was building a legacy for her daughters, one born not of pity, but of power. Her mind drifted back to that night she gave birth alone, trembling, her hand gripping the hospital sheets while her heart shattered in silence. Ethan hadn't called. Not once. But she had called her attorney that same week, and from that moment, every signature, every deal, every silent acquisition she made was a step toward this day. Still, a flicker of sadness lingered beneath her calm exterior. Once, she had truly loved him. Once, she had dreamed of growing old beside him. But that version of her naive, hopeful, trusting, had died the night he kicked her in front of his family. Now, all that remained was resolve. A week later, Ethan arrived home to chaos. Amanda sat on the couch, surrounded by shopping bags, scrolling furiously through social media. "Ethan, why didn't you tell me your ex-wife is a billionaire?" she snapped. "Do you know how ridiculous it makes me look? Everyone's saying she's coming after us." Ethan dropped his keys on the counter, exhausted. "It's not just you she's coming after, Amanda. It's all of us." Amanda's tone softened, but her eyes were sharp. "You need to fix this. Call her. Apologize. Do something before we lose everything." He let out a hollow laugh. "You think she'd take my call?" Amanda stepped closer, her voice low. "Then make her. Grovel if you have to." Ethan looked at her, at the woman he'd once thought was his escape. Now she looked like another chain around his neck. "You don't understand," he said. "She's not the same woman anymore." That night, unable to sleep, Ethan scrolled through online articles about Olivia. Every photo of her poised, confident, radiant, was a stab to the chest. The headlines were relentless. The mysterious CEO who rose from the ashes, Olivia Callahan, the woman who redefined power. And beneath the headlines, comments flooded with admiration. People loved her, respected her, feared her. He closed his laptop, burying his face in his hands. For the first time in his life, Ethan King felt the crushing weight of consequences, not corporate, but human. And somewhere deep down, a question he didn't want to face clawed at him. Had he lost the love of his life, or created his own destroyer? The ballroom shimmered with chandeliers and crystal light, filled with Chicago's most powerful investors. Tonight was Callahan Enterprises' annual shareholders summit, an event that determined the future of the entire corporate network under its name. Ethan King stood near the back, his suit pressed but his confidence shattered. His father and mother sat stiffly at a nearby table, pale and silent. Their empire, once built on arrogance and prestige, was now a crumbling ruin, sustained only by borrowed time and denial. Amanda clung to Ethan's arm, trying to mask her fear with a fake smile. "You said this was just a meeting," she whispered. "Why do I feel like we're walking into a trap?" Ethan didn't answer. He already knew. Across the room, cameras flashed as Olivia Callahan entered a vision of quiet power in a sleek black gown. The crowd parted instinctively, all eyes drawn to her. Her presence commanded attention, not because of beauty, but because of authority. The same woman Ethan once threw out of his life now walked as if she owned the air itself. Because she did. She took the stage, her calm voice filling the room. "Good evening, everyone. Tonight marks a new era for Callahan Enterprises and its subsidiaries. We've built something extraordinary, but evolution requires accountability and transparency." Her gaze swept the crowd, pausing just long enough on Ethan and his parents to make them shift in their seats. "Some companies under our umbrella have forgotten those values." A soft murmur rippled through the audience. Olivia tapped her tablet, and the large digital screen behind her came alive, displaying the King & Sons logo, followed by financial charts, contracts, and internal memos. Gasps filled the hall as the details appeared: fraud, unethical labor practices, and hidden losses buried under inflated profits. Richard King's face drained of color. "What is this?" he muttered. Ethan's heart sank. He knew exactly what it was. Exposure. Olivia continued, her tone steady but laced with steel. "King & Sons Logistics has been under investigation for 6 months. The evidence is clear. Effective immediately, Callahan Enterprises is terminating all partnerships, acquiring full control of assets, and filing federal charges for violations." Margaret leapt to her feet, voice trembling. "You can't do this. We gave our lives to this company." Olivia looked directly at her. "You gave your lives to greed and pride. My father gave you opportunities. You spat on that and on me." The room went silent, tension thick enough to choke on. Reporters scribbled furiously as cameras turned toward the Kings. Ethan rose slowly. "Olivia," his voice cracked. "Please, don't do this." Her eyes met his, unreadable but burning with years of restrained fury. "Do what, Ethan? Treat you with the same mercy you gave me?" He stepped closer, desperation breaking through his pride. "I was stupid, angry. I thought you were someone else." "No," she interrupted sharply. "You thought I was no one." The words hit harder than any blow. For a long, painful moment, the two just stood there, a man stripped of power and a woman who had reclaimed hers. Then Olivia turned back to the audience, her composure unshaken. As of today, King & Sons Logistics will be restructured under new management. We will ensure its employees are treated with the dignity this family failed to show. The audience erupted in applause, loud, approving, final. And just like that, the king's legacy was gone. Hours later, after the summit ended and the crowd dispersed, Ethan found himself standing alone on the terrace outside, staring at the city lights. The cold air bit through his suit, but he didn't move. He heard footsteps behind him, light, deliberate. He didn't have to turn to know it was her. Olivia stopped beside him, silent for a moment. "I didn't do this out of spite," she said quietly. "I did it because you and your family needed to learn what real power costs." Ethan turned, eyes hollow. "And what did it cost you, Olivia?" Her gaze softened, just slightly. "Everything I once believed about love." They stood in silence, memories flickering like ghosts between them, laughter, promises, and betrayal. "I loved you," he whispered. "I really did." She exhaled, her voice calm. "Maybe you did, but love without respect is just cruelty wearing perfume." When she turned to leave, he caught her wrist gently. "Your daughters, do they know about me?" Olivia paused. "They know their father was a man who taught their mother how strong she could be." Ethan's eyes glistened. "Will you ever forgive me?" She looked at him one last time, her expression neither bitter nor kind, just resolute. "Forgiveness isn't for you, Ethan. It's for me, and I already gave it the day I stopped caring." Then she walked away, heels clicking against the marble, the sound echoing like a closing chapter. Weeks later, headlines flooded the media. Callahan Enterprises acquires King & Sons. Former CEO Ethan King declares bankruptcy. Olivia Callahan expands charitable foundation for single mothers. Olivia sat on her balcony, her twin daughters playing beside her. Emma giggled as Grace tried to catch the bubbles floating in the air. "Mommy, can we go see the stars?" Emma asked. Olivia smiled softly, lifting her eyes to the night sky. "We already are, sweetheart." Her phone buzzed another news alert about her success, but she silenced it. Tonight wasn't about revenge or victory. It was about peace. As she tucked her girls into bed, she whispered, "You'll never need to beg anyone to see your worth." In the stillness that followed, Olivia realized something profound. Vengeance had given her justice, but motherhood had given her purpose. And though the world would remember her as the woman who destroyed a powerful man, in her heart, she knew the truth: she hadn't destroyed anyone. She'd simply rebuilt herself